I remember the day of the wedding, the court wedding, I said to my mom, I don't want to go ahead with this wedding today. She said, why? The person I'm getting married to is not even talking to me.
I cried, broke down and everything. Like, what, you know, I think, what are people going to say?
I wasn't happy at all. I just felt broken. I felt, why do I have to endure so much hurt?
Right.
For what? You know, I'm a loving person, I'm a kind person.
Yeah. But the way I loved this person, he was going to kill me if I stayed.
And my husband was fine with, you know, having the kids. And then when the whole brouhaha happened, I got beaten a couple of times and, you know,
beaten by who?
My husband now.
Do you know, I never shed a tear for my divorce. As heartless or as insensitive or as cold as that might sound. I never did.
Did you end it?
Come for me.
What happened to your marriage?
It didn't work. You know, I learned a massive lesson from that experience. And it is that love is not enough. When you meet somebody and you want to spend the rest of your life with them, love is just one of the qualities that you need, but it's not everything.
So when the marriage ended, you were still both in love?
I mean, I can't speak for him.
Obviously,
yeah, you know, but for me, I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
The only regard that I would have for him right now is that he's the father of my son.
Right.
And of course, the past experiences, because like I said to you before, I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
Everything that happens for me was for a reason.
Right.
So I hold on to those moments, absolutely.
It sounds like if you had a choice, you would rather not.
Why would I? Imagine if I were in the marriage and it's ended and I moved on. Why would I hold on to anything? It's just like holding on to your ex. Yeah. Some people would, but I wouldn't.
Yeah. Did you end it? And you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable with that.
You see, Chude, it's when you have a child. Well, for me, the dynamics change.
At the moment of the divorce, did you think everything was about to crash?
Of course, everything had crashed. I didn't think everything was about to crash. Everything had crashed. The life I knew had crashed. I went to bed one way and woke up the other. It's funny how people think, you know, I've heard different versions of what people think happened in my marriage. But the most incredible ones are the ones that, well, she kind of knew already, or it was not something that, you know, she probably knew I was still acting like her life was perfect. No, I didn't. I went to bed one way and woke up the other. The first phone call I received was from Ice Prince. When he broke out in the blogs, I was sleeping, and Ice Prince called me at 2 a.m. in the morning. I love him to death. And he says to me, where are you? I'm like, where am I supposed to be? I'm in bed. And my then husband was laying right beside me. And Ice is like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, why? He goes, okay, sleep. Just know that whatever happens, we got your back, we love you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the news broke out and all of that. So yes, everything crashed.
Right.
People somehow, and that's the problem with when people think you're strong. Sometimes with strong people, we take for granted the fact that they're not always okay. But even in my family dynamic, I say this a lot, you know, even with my family members, I know that if this had happened to any other of my siblings, they would have fawned over them. Just make sure you don't die. Are you okay? Are you this? But they automatically think you're always going to be okay. You're tough. So being tough sometimes has its downside, because people will have a perception of you and think she was at work the next day. She clearly didn't care about this guy. I had to work because I didn't want to be broke. Have you been heartbroken and broke before? 2 remedies that you don't want to happen to you. Heartbreak causes sickness. Brokenness causes sickness. So when you now combine the two, you're not going to be okay. So I was at work the next morning because that's the only thing I knew how to do.
Yes.
I knew that I had to carry on because I needed the cash. I knew that if I was going to leave this marriage, I don't think I was going to leave the marriage with a trust fund. So I needed to work my ass off to make sure that at least getting a place, I could afford it. I wasn't going to move back home. It wasn't an option because I didn't want to ordinary the gatesman opening the gates. Maybe we bade you goodbye.
Yeah.
So the first night they will think you came to visit. You're spending. Second night maybe she's spending the weekend.
Yeah.
But next week they will start gossiping about themselves. What's going on?
Yeah.
The marriage has crashed. I just wasn't ready for all of that scrutiny.
Yeah.
So I knew that I needed to work through my pain. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. There were nights that I slept beside the toilet seats. I cried my father's picture on my chest, and it was 5 a.m. and I had to shower and go on radio.
So see, incidentally, I was just watching yesterday night the last part of Hillary Clinton's documentary on Hulu, and she was saying, she was describing the moment that Bill Clinton came to her in the night and said, "Darling," or whatever, "something is going to break tomorrow morning," and it's about the Monica Lewinsky thing. How did you confront your husband about this kind of a thing?
Well, I wish I had the Bill Clinton and Hillary situation. I wish he walked up to me to say, "Girl, I've done something." I mean, I tell people, regardless of whatever you guys saw play out in the media, that was my guy.
That was
my
your guy.
friend. Many years have passed now. Sometimes you have those moments where it's still unbelievable, because at that time I was young, but I fell in love with this guy hard. He was the best thing that ever happened since sliced bread. Nobody could tell me otherwise. This was my friend. So to go through that sort of betrayal, nothing compares. There's absolutely nothing I can say, to explain the things that went through my head. I knew it was true off the back of, it wasn't someone that I hadn't heard the name before. So clearly I knew that there was, except you want to say, I don't know how you want to make it seem like these people are lying, but there was no hold hands, baby, can I tell you something? I've wronged you. It wasn't that. The way I loved this person, he was going to kill me if I stayed.
When my marriage crashed in 2013, I will tell you the truth. When I was growing up, I grew up with a silver spoon, not silver, maybe a normal spoon. Before but I come from a very good, we're very comfortable. That was the first failure. So, I just felt my life had ended. That was one of my lowest. I've had 2 lowest moments in my life. My wedding that I did, that was a mistake that should never have happened, because I was stupid. I tried to, when something works for you, just stick to it. I remember the day of the wedding, the court wedding, I said to my mom, I don't want to go ahead with this wedding. Yeah, if she's watching, I will even like her to watch. She will get angry, I don't care. I don't want to go ahead with this wedding today. She said, why? The person I'm getting married to is not even talking to me. The guy can't stand me. Mama said, you are too stubborn. One needs to, you can't be too strict. And I just decided to listen. Because according to our culture, you listen to your parents, you blah, blah, blah. Don't disrespect them. My caterer came around. The woman said, your mom is complaining that you are being stubborn. I said, yeah, Jebu, I don't want to go ahead with this wedding today. I was throwing up, I was sick. My mom said, oh, I've invited my friends. Don't disgrace me, don't disappoint me. I'm like, and we went ahead. But this guy and we just met. I didn't really know him, even though he said he loved me. With the little time, I started developing feelings for him, and I came to love him. But later, I sat down when everything happened. It took me years. I had to see therapists. I would say, what I see in therapy, if you don't see a therapist, you will just run mad, because I was nearly there. And it was because I started as an interactor in secondary school, became a Rotaract, and now a Rotarian. I've always seen everything I do in life as a project that must be finished.
Succeed.
It wasn't necessary. I could have just pulled out, but I didn't. And then when I fell, I didn't pick up myself. This is the 8th year. It affected everything. My comedy, my acting, everything went down. Zero. Everything. That's why when I came, I was telling you, I didn't have anything. And when I tried to tell people, I don't, they'll be like, Mommy P, you know. I'm like, don't say because you're seeing me here, I'm not okay. And so my people will just say, you are not okay. And then someone has see. Like, do you know why I'm even adding weight? I had to sit somebody down. See, how big is my hand? It's not, hey boy, queen. And somebody even said, we thought you were pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Truly, after the wedding ended, family, friends, they tried to help. The guy came back after plenty begging. I got pregnant, but unfortunately for me, I had an ectopic pregnancy that nearly took my life and changed my health from being the pristine princess health to taking almost 15 tablets in a day, doing this, not being able to do this. My life just changed me. It's not something I can get back. And then the surgery now left me hanging. And I went to the hospital, the doctor said, Madam, it's better for your tummy to be big than for you to die. I didn't listen. 2014 March, I said, let me resume my workout. Because I used to work out before every day. I collapsed. I sat down to my, do I want flat tummy or I want to be down? So many things were now wrong with my system. I asked God, why this thing happened to me? Who I offend? You shouldn't be doing that. When you're down, pray to God to give you strength. Get up and that's just it. If not, getting up might be very difficult. It's like a stampede. When you fall down, others are running for their lives too. They will step on you, even unknowingly. It's the truth, Chude. Some people have stepped on me, nearly made me lose my life. But even them that step, I don't blame them because they are also running a race for their lives as well. So that moment, you see, that my wedding it took me to ground zero. I saw myself, I said I became homeless gidi.
How? What do you mean by you became homeless?
Okay, first and foremost, I did a very stupid thing, like I told you.
Yeah.
The wedding, we spent almost 10 million. That's with people giving this, paying for this, blah. All the money I had on planning, I wanted to travel with my new hobby, blah, 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 I did. When the wedding ended, I had basic. The normal people will spray you, blah, blah. It didn't happen. The money I saw, 95K, more for. Like they said, somebody carried the gifts they gave us. They carried the money. We didn't see it. They caught them later. But what will I do?
Mess.
So it was paying debts, and then you have bills to pay. Your rent is there. You're not working.
Yes.
My brother in Lagos. And then I call my mom. Hello, mommy, can I get a loan of 50K, a loan of 10K, a loan of 5? The woman is retired, you know. And before you knew. It just kept going down. And people will call you for events.
Yes.
And I didn't want to go out. I was ashamed of myself. Right. Like I failed. Yeah. They won't call you again. They call you once. Yeah. Oh, don't bother, don't cooperate. And then so people started saying, oh, she doesn't stay in the country anymore. Right. You know? So 2013, by 2019, that 6 years self now manage. I tried some events. I would pick up, go down again. Pick up, go down again. Because I'll sit down and I'll still look back. So when you're running, you don't look back. You
know, it's now that when we talk about it, we understand what happened. Okay. And the things that led to all of that. Okay. But you know, as you're young in love, you're not thinking about all those things. And he too had his own life ahead of him, which obviously there was lack of communication. We didn't understand at the time what his vision was or what his father's vision was for him. So there was a whole misunderstanding from the very beginning. And I'll say maybe because we're just too young, we're just happy, in love, we just wanted to get it over and done with. So that's why even when the court wedding happened, I saw nothing wrong with it because we wanted to be in love, we wanted to get married. And after all, we're going to do the white wedding and the traditional one, which everybody's going to be at, right? So court wedding was just like, oh, let's just sign papers and then, you know, proceed with the rest. So when his mom called me, the mom said she had to speak with me. And then I was like, okay.
Had you spoken with her before then?
On like maybe 2 times or so.
So you didn't really know her?
We're not very close.
Yes.
We're not close because he and his mom, they were close but not so close. Like there were issues, with the family stuff. So I don't know much about that. Yeah, but there was a reason why the mom called me, and that was basically to say that the event I was planning won't happen.
Were those her words?
Yeah, the event, it won't happen. So in my head, I'm like, ooh, what? What event? It's like it was going to be naming ceremony at the same time.
Right.
So we're going to do like the outdooring of the child and naming ceremony and the wedding, like all in one. It won't happen. And I was like, how is that possible? That it's not just the naming ceremony, there is also a wedding that we've sent out invites for and all of that. She said, oh, she didn't know.
What?
Yeah. It was just something. It was just dramatic, to be honest. She didn't really know about all of that, the details. But now I understand what happened. I understand why he did what he did.
So what happened?
It's just, it's a family thing for them.
Right.
So I wouldn't want to speak
On
into
behalf,
her, that's the thing. I just wouldn't want to speak, but I was the broken one, so I can speak from my side, like what I felt. Because I had lost, basically I was embarrassed.
Yes.
When the media writes about, Chude Jideonwo is having this huge wedding coming up, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to tell people that, my in-law is seriously sick, so we have to postpone the wedding to another time.
Are you already an actor at this time?
Yes, I was, at the time. So that was my excuse to everybody, because I couldn't think of what
else
to tell people, So people waited. I had some media guys that would ask me a year later, or even like maybe December, they say, when is the new date and stuff like that. And I would say, the dad has traveled, and I'll just be giving all these excuses back and forth. And it was just one of those things. Like it was horrible for me. But then my mom and everybody else was like, you guys are already married now. It's just one of those things. So we took my boy, we did the ceremony in church separately. We didn't do the grand thing we wanted to do, and we continued as husband and wife, because there was court papers already. Yeah.
But you were not living together.
Not really. No.
Not really.
No. We weren't back and forth seeing each other. I go to his place, he comes to mine. Like I was living with my mom. Yeah.
And so at that time, you still didn't sense that something was.
I didn't though. I was naive. I didn't see anything. And to be honest, it's like I'm that kind of person who likes to give benefit of doubt, and I tend to give people too many chances, and I like for you to know that I trust you. So I will expect you to know what to do, and just respect me, to not be able to let me down, because I'm that type of person that would not let people down.
Right.
I don't like disappointment, so I don't like to anything. There's this favorite quote I have is like, do unto others as I want done unto me. That's me.
Right.
That is what you see is what you get. Like I put in what I know I want to receive.
Yeah.
So I just give him the benefit of doubt.
And get it going.
Like whatever you say, I believe you.
Yeah.
His excuse and reason later was his dad wanted to do the wedding in a grand style. Like he wanted it to be big.
Because his dad is big.
He's a big person, so he didn't want it to be small. That's why he told me. And at first he said the dad had meetings with some people, so that date clashed. So we have to push it forward. So there were different reasons, excuses and stuff. I cried, broke down and everything. Like what I think is, what are people going to say? What would they say? How would it look like? But then I was like, we're already married, so it doesn't mean. So I waited. When they gave me, I think they gave me August for the next date. When August came, I asked. And then something else came up, and something else came up, and something else came up. And I just stopped asking. Because it wasn't just, it wasn't going to happen.
So it was a slow dawning on you that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a movie.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know, right?
And so basically, for you, when you see movies about, jilted at the altar, for you, it's not a theory. And you were even thanking God, that thank God it didn't even happen on the wedding day.
Imagine, what if they didn't show up at the wedding? I'm not wearing wedding gown. So guess what? I even used the wedding gown in one movie set. I was doing a movie shoot. I carried it. I was like, I'll have wedding gown. No, I'll use it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this went on for how long? There's another part, you know, the other part I've talked about. But this went on for how long?
Probably, I would say like a year or two.
Right.
Within that year,
Yes,
we had
it was a
forgotten
year.
that it won't happen. No,
Yes.
I just forgot. I just didn't
moved on.
ask again.
I just did not feel the love and care that I ought to have, even from, you know, a very young age. And I ended up meeting my ex. I'm not really gonna nibble and dabble into that, but I met my ex, the father of my children, and you know, it wasn't the best situation. We're together 8-9 years.
Oh, wow.
So that period was another dark, even darker than what I experienced here in Nigeria. So I just felt, I wasn't happy at all. I just felt broken. I felt everything was just negative. And I was like, is there really a God? Is there a God? Like, why do I have to endure so much hurt?
Right.
For what? You know, I'm a loving person, I'm a kind person, you know, I can give you the shirt off my back, so to say. So why do I have to experience so much pain? And I'm glad that I met Mommy from MFM.
Right.
You know, she kind of just slowly winged me back into God. And from there, you know, I just try to work on myself. I know before we started, you were talking about depression and being on medications and things like that. I was on medications as well.
Right.
And mine was so intense that my medication had to be a tablet you put on your tongue and it immediately dissolves.
Right.
And it calms my nerves. I mean, extremely calms my nerves.
Right.
But the side effect was I was beginning to lose my memory. So I had to wing myself off of
the
it.
drug.
So I had to just start afresh. When I was moving back to Nigeria, of course for acting, it was with my kids. And I started in the house in Maryland because I had relocated to Baltimore. And I was talking to myself like a crazy person and finding ways on how to deal with people when I moved to Nigeria. It might not have been the best, you know, because some still think that I'm this harsh, you know, tough person. Yes, I am tough, but I'm a sweet person. I just like to guard my territory.
Right.
I don't let people come too close.
Would you do it again, marriage?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Right.
Yes, Oluwa Joe. You know, with everything that's going on, I won't say I'm afraid, but I'm just like, where are the good ones? They must be. Why are we shedding so much? We are here, we are seeing people celebrating 40th year anniversary, 50th year anniversary, 55 years. We're here, we see some couples sometimes, you know, some of these elderly couples, one of them dies, the next one follows almost immediately because they're soulmates.
Yes.
They've had a soul tie.
Yes.
One of them dies or one of them is sick, the next is sick, they're inseparable.
Yes.
So where are they? Why are we not seeing? I think, you know.
So you know, I'm part of the men.
Yes,
So
you
I
are.
stand accused. You are.
You are.
Why do you think it's so hard to find good men from where you are sitting?
I don't think they're good men and they're bad men.
Yeah.
The same way they're good women and they're bad women. See this relationship, I don't know whether it's luck.
Right.
Is it luck? I don't know if it's luck, if you just luckily meet somebody who's on the right frequency as regards making the relationship work. But I do know that with relationships, selflessness is so important. You have to let go of a lot of you
You
know.
have to let go of a lot of you.
And I learned that as well.
Right. How do you balance? You know, there's a way you said it, letting go of a bit of yourself
Yeah.
with not losing yourself.
Yourself.
How do you balance that?
You know, relationships are confusing.
My sister.
No, honestly, they are. You say it's a sacrifice. Being with somebody is a sacrifice. Why is it a sacrifice? You know, why is it? Why?
Yes.
Why is it a sacrifice? I'm still thinking, you know, like, it says unconditional love. Why is it unconditional love? Why shouldn't it be based on how you're treating me or what you're giving me? Or why is it? It should be a dance. It should be a dance. Another one. Let me shake it. It should be a dance. It should be a dance. Yes. Why? That's what I'm saying. That why is it so hard? Yes. What is the problem? Right. Can't two people find each other and say we're going to make this work? We're going to be companions the rest of our lives and make this work. Yeah. But I think we are not ready to commit. We want to eat our cake and have it, you know, and therein lies the problem, in my opinion, anyway.
Was this the lowest point in your life so far?
I had a conversation with somebody, and she pretty much asked me the same question, and I said to her, "Do you know I never shed a tear for my divorce?" As heartless or as insensitive or as cold as that might sound, I never did. Because I had given it my all. And I got to the point of, you know what? If it doesn't work, it is not meant to be. No matter how much I cry or wail, Lord, if it doesn't work now, there is nothing else I can do.
Right. So that's the reason. I think is that the reason why it's easy to ride the wave, because you know you've done your best.
I think so.
You've given it your all. Yes. So it's like what comes is inevitable.
Yes.
Right.
And because I prayed.
Yes, you said that. Yes.
Oh, I prayed.
Was it?
And don't look at me like a pretty, just this doll baby they put somewhere. I prayed.
Right. I'm going to ask a foolish question.
You see, the thing about my marriage and why my marriage, let me say, didn't work out, is because when I was going to get married, I gave a condition. Okay. When my mother and everybody, like, before they paid my bride price, me, I want to go to university, you know, because being brought up in a very humble background, back home in the village, my mom didn't have money and stuff. She managed to send me to secondary school. And then there was really no money to go to university. Then I met my husband, I married my husband. Then when I married my husband, I started having kids. So, but the condition was, my mother was telling me that, your husband is, you know, from a very well-to-do family.
We sort this out.
Yes, when at some point in time he would, you know, send you to university, which I believed. So, but that now didn't happen to be the case. So when I bring up the university thing, it brings up issues. So I just one day, you know, like I always say now, I'm going to decide by myself, have conversation by myself, think about it by myself. I can take the decision and later find out it's a mistake, or later find out, thank God I did this, but I just do it myself. Because I don't have a sister or maybe senior or even junior that will say, come on, this thing is, and then we'll maybe talk. Like they say, 2 heads are better than one. Me, I only have 1 head. And I'll use that my 1 head. I've been using it all my life. So I just, and then my mom wasn't in support of it. My mom was not supporting me. My mom was 247 on my husband's side. If your husband does not want you to be educated, your husband doesn't want you to go to school and be having children and have a factory of children, that's what you would do. You know, because my mom believed in that. She's a typical Nigerian mother. So me now, at some point I realized that I'm on my own on this matter. And I really, 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 really wanted to go to school. So one day I just left. I just left. I just one day just left.
Just left.
I didn't have where I was going, so I can't take my kids with me. And my husband was fine with, you know, having the kids. And then when the whole brouhaha happened, I got beaten a couple of times, and you know,
beaten by who?
My husband now. Because the issue was like, I think it was giving him a lot of stress. Like, what is wrong with this child, you know? So I just left, and then one lady, her name is Betsy. She now lives in Abidjan. She had this fashion shop where she had tailors and machines, and she used to make clothes. So I went to her and stayed with her.